Los Angeles, a city long plagued by homelessness, has always been a place of contrasts, glittering opportunity, and deep struggle side by side. Now, for the first time in years, the city reports a drop in its homeless population, sparking both hope and debate. The official numbers are finally trending downward, a cause for celebration among city leaders and a source of skepticism for many residents and advocates. But numbers rarely tell the whole story. Behind every statistic is a person, a family, a life in transition. What's really happening on the streets? Are lives truly being changed, or are appearances simply shifting? Tents once lined sidewalks, but now some areas are clear, swept clean by city crews and new policies. Yet, just blocks away, new clusters of tents emerge, as if the crisis is simply moving from one neighborhood to another. The problem hasn't disappeared, it's just moved, often out of sight of the public and the press. A drop in numbers could mean people are housed, or it could mean they've been pushed out of sight, hidden from the official count. Before declaring victory, we must understand what these numbers truly represent, and who might be missing from the data. Is this real progress, or just an illusion created by shifting the problem elsewhere? We need to dig deeper and ask tough questions, listening to those who live this reality every day. Driving destiny through the city reveals stark contrasts, gleaming towers beside makeshift shelters, hope and hardship side by side. The official narrative suggests a city cleaning up, but reality shows otherwise, with encampments lingering just out of frame. Encampments vanish in some areas, but reappear elsewhere, as if homelessness is simply being shuffled around the map. The discrepancy between data and reality is at the heart of the issue, challenging us to look beyond surface-level solutions. We must look beyond press releases and spreadsheets and see the people and stories behind the numbers. Is this the beginning of the end of the crisis, or just another chapter in Los Angeles' ongoing struggle with homelessness? Only time and honest answers will tell. Traveling through Los Angeles is like moving through different worlds. Venice Beach, once lined with tents, now appears cleaner after city cleanups. But where did the people go? Skid Row remains crowded, a stark reminder of the crisis's magnitude. The Valley, once a suburban escape, now grapples with visible homelessness. Clearing central encampments pushes people into new neighborhoods. This migration doesn't solve the problem, it redistributes it. Los Angeles is a patchwork of communities, each experiencing homelessness uniquely. A cleanup in one area creates new challenges elsewhere. Citywide statistics can mask local realities. To understand the crisis, we must look block by block. The city isn't a single entity, it's diverse and complex. A policy that works in one area may fail in another. The official narrative smooths over these complexities. We must see the whole map to truly understand. The journey reveals a fundamental truth about the city. In response to the crisis, Los Angeles launched Project Roomkey. The initiative leased hotel rooms to shelter vulnerable people during the pandemic. It was a bold attempt to address homelessness using empty hospitality spaces. Thousands moved off the streets into private rooms. For many, it was their first stable shelter in years. Project Roomkey was praised as a compassionate emergency response. However, it was always a temporary solution. As the pandemic emergency waned, the program scaled back. The city scrambled to transition people to permanent housing, but there isn't enough affordable housing. Many faced a return to the streets. Temporary solutions like Project Roomkey are vital, but insufficient. Without permanent housing, progress is fleeting. The decline in the homeless count is partly due to these temporary programs. But if solutions aren't permanent, how lasting is the progress? We must build long-term infrastructure to truly end homelessness. Statistics can obscure the human reality of homelessness. Behind every number is a person with a story, a face, and a struggle that often goes unseen. To truly understand homelessness, we must listen to those living it every day, whose voices are too often drowned out by the noise of policy debates and public misconceptions. Maria, a 62-year-old woman, lost her home after a sudden medical emergency drained her savings and left her unable to pay rent. Now, she lives in her car, feeling invisible to the world and stripped of the dignity she once had. Each night, she wonders if anyone notices or cares. David, a young man, aged out of foster care and struggles to find work. With no family to turn to, he faces rejection and uncertainty at every turn. He lives in an encampment, finding a sense of community among others in similar situations, despite the constant fear of losing what little he has. Michael, a veteran with PTSD, cycles between shelters and the streets. His service to the country is now a distant memory as he battles trauma and instability. Housing alone isn't enough. Comprehensive support, mental health care, job training, and community is crucial for lasting change. These stories reveal not only systemic failures but also incredible human resilience and the will to survive against all odds. Each person has a name, a history, and a reason for being where they are. Their journeys are shaped by circumstances, not just choices. When we talk about a decline in homelessness, we talk about people like Maria, David, and Michael, real people, not just statistics. Did they find a permanent home, or were they simply moved out of sight, their struggles hidden from public view? Personal stories force us to look past data and confront the crisis's moral weight, reminding us that every policy decision impacts real lives. We must ask ourselves, are we truly solving homelessness, or just managing it for appearances? Or are we just shifting people from one form of insecurity to another, never addressing the root causes? These stories highlight the urgent need for real, lasting solutions that go beyond temporary fixes. We must address the root causes of homelessness: poverty, lack of affordable housing, mental health, and systemic inequality. The crisis is about more than numbers. It's about human lives, families, and futures at stake every single day. We must act with compassion and urgency, recognizing the humanity in every person we encounter on the street. The point-in-time count is a monumental effort to tally the homeless, mobilizing hundreds of volunteers across the city in a single night. It's a snapshot, not a full picture, but it's the best tool we have to measure the scale of homelessness at any given moment. Volunteers spread across Los Angeles County, braving the late hours and cold, to identify unsheltered individuals wherever they can be found. Yet, it's an imperfect science, often missing hidden populations who avoid detection, or those living in places not easily seen. This year's reported drop in numbers raises important questions about the methodology and accuracy of the count. Did changes in counting methods, or even volunteer coverage, affect the final tally in ways we don't fully understand? A decrease in visible homelessness might not reflect fewer people in need, but rather a change in who is visible and who remains hidden. The definition of homelessness itself can be manipulated, sometimes expanded or narrowed to fit policy goals or reporting needs. The count focuses on the unsheltered, often ignoring those hidden away in cars, garages, or makeshift shelters out of sight. Families living in motels or couch surfing are precariously housed, teetering on the edge of homelessness, but not always counted. Celebrating a drop in street homelessness may ignore a simultaneous rise in hidden homelessness, shifting the crisis rather than solving it. Are we truly solving homelessness, or simply shifting people between categories and locations, out of sight but not out of crisis? A person in a motel may be safer than on the street, but they are not truly housed or secure. We must ask, where are they now, and for how long will they remain there before falling through the cracks again? A critical analysis of these numbers is essential to understand the real impact of our efforts and to guide future solutions. We must look beyond statistics and see the human stories behind the numbers to truly understand the crisis. The count is a valuable tool, but it's only one part of a much larger, more complex story that continues to unfold every day. The public image of homelessness is often incomplete. Families living in minivans, college students in cars, and seniors in motels are invisible. These groups are not in the official count but are homeless. Families maintain normalcy while hiding their situation. College students pursue degrees while lacking stable housing. Seniors on fixed incomes face rent increases that push them out. This hidden population is critical to the story. They are out of sight and often out of mind. They don't factor into public debate or policy solutions. Their existence shows the problem is deeper than official numbers suggest. A real solution must address housing insecurity before it leads to street homelessness. We must look beyond visible encampments. The crisis affects diverse groups in different ways. We must address root causes, not just symptoms. The hidden population is a crucial part of the homelessness story. We must act to prevent more from becoming visible. Public perception shapes the homelessness debate. Residents see encampments daily, creating complex emotions. Frustration often targets the unhoused, not systemic failures. Media coverage focuses on dramatic aspects, reinforcing stereotypes. This fuels not in my backyard sentiment, hindering solutions. Political pressure demands quick wins, not long-term solutions. The political cycle favors visible actions over sustainable change. Public frustration, media sensationalism, and political pressure create a toxic environment. It distracts from real issues: lack of affordable housing, broken mental health care, and stagnant wages. Changing homelessness requires a shift in public perception. We need responsible media and leadership. The crisis is about more than numbers. It's about human lives. We must act with compassion and urgency. The path forward requires collective will and sustained investment. We must focus on human beings, not just statistics. The media and public must support real, lasting solutions. Temporary measures aren't the answer. Housing is. The Housing First model prioritizes stable housing without preconditions. Once housed, support services can address other challenges. For Michael, mental health care is crucial. For David, job training. Services keep people housed, turning placements into homes. The biggest obstacle is the lack of affordable housing. Los Angeles needs more housing for all income levels. This requires changing zoning laws and investing in construction. Protecting existing affordable housing and tenant protections is vital. The path forward isn't quick or easy. It requires political will, financial investment, and community support. We must move beyond emergency responses. The goal is to end homelessness, not manage it. Other cities have made progress. Los Angeles can too. The crisis is about more than numbers. It's about human lives. We must act with compassion and urgency. This is more than a story about numbers. It's about who we are. The way we treat our vulnerable reflects our values. Do we believe housing is a human right? The crisis is a reminder of our shared failure. We cannot accept encampments as normal. The drop in numbers should be a call to action. Change comes from community involvement. Volunteer, support affordable housing, and educate others. See the unhoused as community members in need. Los Angeles has the resources and knowledge to solve this crisis. We need collective will and focus on human beings. Every person on the streets has a story. They are our neighbors. As long as one is without a home, our work isn't done. This is our city and our responsibility. We must act with compassion and urgency.